Everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. This is the Way West Stand, and we're joined, as always, by Rhett Conaway. Rhett, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Not as good as usual, but fine.
Yeah, before we get into that, of course, for the month of February, we're going to be pushing to get to 200 subscribers on this channel. So if you like what we do, subscribe if you haven't, and tell a friend, family. At Sunny Day Review, our old podcast, I used to say, tell your friends and your enemies about us. Do that too if you're so inclined. But we would very much appreciate it if you could subscribe. And with that, I've put it off as long as I could, right? I'm sorry. We got to talk about Arsenal's 1-0 loss to Everton. What happened?
We got diced, and I do really think it's that simple. There's a thing called the new manager bounce, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. It's always to varying degrees. I thought Rebecca Lowe said it perfectly after this one. This is the perfect example of a new manager bounce. Dyche came in, he simplified things, he brought the physicality level up, he brought the effort level up, and it was exactly what they needed to do to take on Arsenal, and they did a very good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just in the Premier League. I feel like this happens all the time. Like bad football teams will fire their coach and then win the next game, and you're like, where was this team the rest of the
That is
season?
true. That is
So,
true, and that is a question I'm going to go more in depth on later today when Aaron and I record Swinging at Chins. You got to wonder, you have the players who could do this.
mhm,
What was Lampard doing with this team?
yeah, the inside the locker room couldn't have been good, right?
No, and he had definitely lost the locker room, and that's something that gets thrown around, just like saying, why couldn't the old manager get this out of those people? That's something that gets thrown around by armchair analysts all the time. But there was a apathy to this Everton squad that was not there. Sean Dyche lit a fire under their asses. There's no other way to put it. Um, I was watching the game and I was texting with everybody who, all my Arsenal buddies, and it was, well, they can't keep this up all game. Yeah, their effort level's here, but it hasn't been here all year. They can't keep this up all game, but they did. They did exactly what a team that doesn't have the technical ability of the team they're facing is supposed to do. You play them hard, you play them tight, you play just this side of fouling as close as you can. It was a very physical game. There are five, and I'm not using this as an excuse. Everton won the match. They had 1.6 expected goals to Arsenal's 0.9. They had, four big chances created. They won the match. I'm not making excuses, but the physicality is something that we haven't really seen outside of some of our Europa matches. There was a lot of shirt pulling, but never to the point that it got called, which that's your job as a defender to figure out, what am I allowed to get away with? Baseball's my other love. The pitcher's job is to find out, where's my strike zone, And with here, it was, what level of physicality can I play with? And for the goal that got scored, that was a very simple goal where Tarkowski just pushed Odegaard, right? Just kept pushing him back, pushing back, pushing back, pushing back, get the head on the ball. That's not a foul. It's never going to be a foul. I'm not saying he was. He was just physically outplayed. On top of that, we looked bad. And I think we looked bad because Everton never let us get into a rhythm. I don't think, that was a down day for Arsenal. We would have got, no, we should win this match 9 out of 10 times. That's true. But I think Everton deserves the win because the way they played never let us get into a rhythm. And that was a very big deal. Props off to Everton.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that said, is there any, I don't want to say, but are you concerned at all for next match with Brentford?
No, there's, yes, obviously I'm concerned a bit. I'm always concerned a bit. At this point of the season, the margins are so thin. I'm always concerned. It's like a playoff game every single game we play, it feels like. I'm not more concerned going into this Brentford match than I was, last week. And if anything, I might be a little bit less, and that's because our bounce back from losses is usually so good, especially under Arteta. And then secondly, not only a bounce back from a loss, but sometimes the best thing for a really good team is to have a loss. And right now, technically, we've lost 2 in a row. We've lost to Man City in the FA Cup, and we've lost to Everton in the Premier League, and this is do or die time. And I really think that this team is going to do. So cautiously optimistic with that.
All right, well that's good. Because after that, Arsenal's playing the number two team. Man City, who's having some controversy, which I'm sure you're going to cover in depth on Swinging at Shins. But do you want to, just give a little tease for that and what's happening there?
So the idea is the Premier League, not UEFA, not the FA, the Premier League as an organization has hit Man City with about 105. Everyone keeps saying over 100. I heard 105, but 105 different charges of breaches related to financial incentives, fair play, remuneration, all of those things. And the charges go from you paid a coach, and this is something that's been a little bit of an open secret for a while. Roberto Mancini, who won the first couple of Premier League titles for Man City after the Emirates bought them, essentially. He was getting paid by shadow corporations. Like he had a salary from Man City, but then he had more of a salary from other places, and all those places were owned by the guy who bought Man City, essentially.
Crazy how that worked.
I mean, it's one of those things where a couple of years ago, UEFA hit them with a bunch of financial fair play and barred them from being in European competitions for a while and did what they could do. And then it went to a appeals court, and the appeals court said, no, you can't do that because XYZ. And it was very loopholeish. It wasn't, you weren't, you didn't cheat. It's just they can't ban you the way they're trying to ban you for the reasons they're trying to ban you. It reminds me very much of, if you get into the nitty gritty of Deflategate, at the end of the day, it wasn't whether or not footballs were deflated. The argument, the last court case was, does Roger Goodell have the ability to give out these penalties? And the answer was, yes, he does. So now his word is whatever it is. That went exactly the opposite way. Does UEFA have the ability to do this? And the answer was, no, they don't. The Premier League doesn't have a lot of the same rules. For one thing, there's not a time there's not like a time limit. They can go back a lot farther. So they're going back all the way to 2009 with a bunch of these charges. And then some of it is you spent more than you said, that you spent more than the revenue that you had, which is a financial fair play breach. Then you didn't cooperate with the investigation. There was also times when your earnings sheets, your futures were changed and you didn't alert us, and all these things are breaches. So that's how the number gets up to 105. I'm going to save my thoughts for actually swinging at Shins, partly because I'm still kind of formulating them. But my gut says this should lead to, this should be massive. My heart says it should be massive. My gut says it probably won't be, but we'll see.
It seems like it should be. But yeah, like you said, it's often not like you feel like people or organizations should get punished for things, and then they just get like a slap on the wrist. You're like, huh, okay, I guess that's.
I mean, very few times we've had corporations and organizations in America do things that should be just disbanded.
Yeah.
And instead they're getting you emails like Sally Mae and Freddie Mac,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, you still need to pay for college loans? Oh, after what you guys pulled? No. But
there
they are. So status quo has a way of maintaining the status quo.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you want to help Rhett and I pay our student loans, make sure you subscribe. Get us to that 200. We got to get making some money here so Sally Mae doesn't come after us.
That would be great.
Yeah. So as for the game, how are you feeling about it? That's Wednesday the 15th.
I am optimistic because it's at the Emirates. And I am optimistic because although Arsenal lost, they did not lose any ground. City played Tottenham Hotspur at Tottenham Hotspur, a match that Arsenal had just won 2-0 a couple of weeks ago. And they have yet to even score a goal. The last 5 times they've gone there, they have not scored. I mean, the only 5 times they've gone there, they have not scored. Holland seems to have maybe been figured out. He did not record a single shot on goal. Now, obviously, Holland's a great player, and I do think that he's going to turn it back on. But he's not this you expect a hat trick every match type of guy that he was at the beginning of the season. Um, it's City, and I'm not. I'm starting to go into this with the same cautious optimism that I was going into the Liverpool match with. Hey, you know what? We should probably be able to do this. I don't know if we're going to because it's Liverpool and we always get slapped by Liverpool, but honestly, we should be able to do this. And now with City, with the way they played yes, we lost, but the way they played in that FA match against us and the points that they've been dropping lately, it's like, we really should be able to do this. So cautiously optimistic.
All right. So we'll obviously update everyone there once that happens. And then after that, we got Aston Villa and Arsenal, and we'll do a combined episode with Aaron to talk about that. I'm looking forward to it. We already teased up swinging at shins a little bit. I don't know if there's anything else you want to tease for that.
This weekend, Aaron and I don't know, we like reverse jinxed ourselves because we're not upset with the outcome. But last episode we were talking about, it's probably going to be kind of a boring week. This has been the least boring week all season, which is saying something. Leeds fired Jesse Marsh. The only American coach is now gone. Liverpool is a shell of themselves. I can't believe what I'm seeing with my own eyes. I had to formulate my thoughts on that. It's not even the same, the Liverpool team. The Man City of it all. There was a huge scrum in the United Palace match that resulted in one guy getting red carded. 3 guys probably should have been red carded. It was a crazy, crazy weekend, and it was a ton of fun, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So definitely check that out.
And that will, of course, be the top link in the description of this video. Anything else you want to plug before we get on out of here?
No, just that you can find Swinging at Shins on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok for as long as TikTok is still legal in this country.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Listen, we get a lot of views on TikTok. One less thing to have to post stuff from us. So I go both ways with it. Go both ways with it. And please subscribe to Swinging at Shins after you're done subscribing to this channel. Yes. We are new. We're under Wicked Good Sports, and we're trying to grow that as well.
So please check that out. You, of course, can find this channel on Twitter at Wicked Good Sport, on Instagram and TikTok at Wicked Good Sports, and then the overall channel is twitch.tv/Wicked Good Everything on Twitch. And you can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeBMar. That's BMARR. And other than that, Rhett, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
We'll see you all in the next one.